Okay, next question. Andrew Robson says, my question is about the King of Cups. I would like to know more about this card. Thank you, your videos are inspiring. Blessings, Andy. Oh, thank you, Andy, that's great. So, the King of Cups. Right, King of Cups is a court card. So, court cards represent certain characteristics. Represents love, compassion, kindness, care. He represents someone who's in touch with his feelings, who's intuitive, so he gets messages through his emotions. It also represents someone who's got an open heart and who can deal with difficulties in a mature emotional level. So represents emotional intelligence. This is the kind of guy you want as a partner, as a friend, as a father. You know, it's a man who's in touch with his feelings, who's strong, who's able to overcome difficult emotions and to stay positive within those situations. It's the court cards progress. They go from the page to the knight to the king. Okay, so that's levels of maturity. So the page is very emotionally inexperienced. The knight is very emotionally over the top, so it's like Romeo, it's too much. And then the king gets to a level of maturity where he's able to manage his emotions. So it's emotional mastery in a positive way. So for instance, the King of Cups can represent someone who has been in a depression and who's now done the emotional work and who's maintained some or found some equilibrium and who's got emotional freedom. It represents really positive attributes in a person. So whenever the King of Cups comes up, it's a really, really good sign. You know, if you're asking about a relationship, if you're asking about how you're feeling at the moment or what you're trying to get to, the King of Cups comes in. He's a really soothing, positive sign. There's nothing untoward about the King of Cups. It's a wonderful thing. And it's, you know, examples, the Dalai Lama is the King of Cups. Wayne Dyer is the King of Cups. It's those kind of wonderful, loving male energies. Okay, next question. Transit Baines. Okay, this is a long one. I would like to know about these things, asteroids, etc. These are what mine are apparently, but I'd like to know how to best make use of their energy and placements, and just how much weight do they carry. Looking forward to the video. I'm learning a lot. Thank you so much. Brilliant. Okay, so you've then listed all of these asteroids. So you've listed Chiron in Aries, house 12, Ceres in Aries, house 12, da, 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 da. Okay, so you've listed all of these and you've basically, okay. So I can't go through all of these. You've basically listed all of your asteroids in your natal chart. So I'll just give you a rundown of, first of all, what the asteroids mean. Okay, so this is something that's quite interesting. So thank you for asking this. The planet, so the Sun or Chiron or Mercury or whatever it is, represents an energy in your chart. Then the sign it's in, so for instance Aries or Pisces, is how that energy is expressed. How it's expressed. So if it's Mars, anger, in Virgo, then anger is expressed in a really neat, concise way. Okay? And then the house where it is what area of life this is expressed in. So your 12th house is the area of spirituality, of institutions, of service, of other people, of fitting into the bigger picture. So all of these are in your 12th house except one of them, which is in the 5th, and that's romance, okay? So I'm just going to go into the actual asteroids. Chiron represents the wounded healer. Chiron is the area of your chart where you can do the most transformation. Okay, so you've got yours in Aries in the 12th house. What that means is you have struggled with putting yourself out there, especially in bigger institutions. You have struggled to get your message heard or your voice acknowledged or your ideas or other people to act on your ideas. That's been a struggle. And if you've got your Chiron there, that's what you need to transform. Don't give up on that. Keep expressing your views. Keep trying to push things forward. And when people finally do start to listen to you, the actual message and the outcome will be superb. The bigger the hurdle, the bigger the obstacle, the better the outcome. Ceres, this is an interesting asteroid. Ceres is actually bigger than Pluto, so it's something that should really be considered. and isn't usually. I mean, I look at it in my personal readings, but not all the time either. And it represents the Great Mother. So it represents what you nurture, what you care about, how you are able to care for other people. It's a great energy. It's you know, Ceres was the you know, Greek and Roman mythology, they often have the same gods with different names, and I think Ceres was Demeter, like the earth goddess, you know, the growing the crops and all of that, and nurturing and caring. So in your chart, it's going to be what you care about. Again, it's in Aries in the 12th house. You want to do something spiritually. You want to achieve something in terms of spirituality. The next one is Pallas, and this is a good one. Pallas is the warrior queen. So this is, you know, the female intelligence. It's like Queen Mab, you know, in ancient Celtic mythology. It's the woman as the powerhouse. It's like Buffy the Vampire Slayer if you're in, you know, pop culture. It's what really gets you excited and what gets you out there and what makes you fight the cause. Again, 12th house. So you're really a spiritually oriented person. And it's in Pisces, which is the sign of spirituality. Juno is the divine consort, so how you are in a relationship. Vesta, another asteroid, that is the keeper of the flame. So that's sexuality and diligence. How you, it's like, Vesta is like a really sexy Virgo. Yeah. You've got the north node of the moon. I mean, north node of the moon is less problematic. That really appears in every personal chart that I do. And the north node of the moon is where you want to get to on a soul level. The south node is where you've been in past lives. So, for instance, my south node is in Aquarius, which means that, which rules astrology and these kind of divination things. So that's why I feel so at ease using divination tools, because I've done it in past lives. And my north node is, oh, I can't actually remember. I think it's in Cancer. Hang on. I'm not quite sure, but the north node is where you're going, where you're striving to in this life. So it's where you're trying to get to. So you've got your, you haven't specified whether it's your north or south, but basically if it's the north, it's what do I want to achieve, and south is what do I know already, where have I come from. Okay, Lilith, this is personal power, and Lilith is the kind of, it's quite a dark energy. It's rage, it's sexuality, it's injustice. It's really what you rally against and what's really harsh and difficult. That's in Leo in your 5th house, so there could be some, Leo is fiery anyway, so there could be some real anger there. And the 5th house is romance and children, so you could be quite explosive in your romantic, intimate relationships. Okay? Right, that's it. There are other ones that you haven't mentioned. There are loads of other asteroids, things like Psyche, Eros, and the reason that not all of them are really included is there are so many energies that come into making up a chart. There's really enough to look at, and the really strongest energies and forces are represented in the chart to give you a really clear insight into what your sole purpose is on this planet. So these are nice extras. I mean, I always look at Chiron, but to look at each one of these can often be a little bit of overkill, because especially things like, you know, the warrior queen, which is Pallas. I mean, a lot of that is often represented by Mars. It's quite a similar energy. It's what really gets you going. So you don't need to look at each one of these in the charts, because often it can take away from the actual message. Simplicity is often good. Okay, next question. Milika Thatcher. I hope I've said that correctly. Do you know much about locational astrology or astrocartography or whatever it might be called? If yes, then I will come up with some more specific questions. This is a great idea. Okay, good, thanks. Right, so I don't think you've given me specific questions, but astrocartography basically is, it's a separate technique. It's, what it does is when you're born, your natal chart, so your birth chart in astrology on the wheel, that's a snapshot of what was going on in the heavens when you were born. And astrocartography takes that, what was going on in the heavens, and plonks it onto the planet, maps it onto planet Earth. So in the chart, if Mars is in the 8th house there, and that's the planet, it goes and it shows you where Mars is on the planet. So it just kind of maps it onto the globe. So that's it basically. There's a whole different technique there. They look at angular planets and the angles and things like that. But it's basically with the focus on how it relates to planet Earth. There's a really good book on this, which I want to recommend. It's called The Psychology of Astrocartography. And it's by Jim Lewis and Kenneth Irving. I'll put a link underneath. But Jim Lewis kind of came up with this system. So if you're interested in finding out more about that, I mean, I've just given you the basic gist of what it is. Or if you want answers to the specific questions that you mentioned, then have a look at that book. That will really go into a lot of depth.